a mile-wide coverage, but kind of an inch deep. That there really was just kind of a surface visual story the media told because of the sheer numbers of people marching in various cities around the country. But there are some serious legal and other concerns behind this new immigrant movement. How are you going to act on any of them? What do you see emerging over the next few weeks and months as a result of all the attention?
Well, I think we're definitely going to continue to organize and to educate within our communities, and we're going to continue to let our legislators know. For example, today is a call-in day for the DREAM Act to ask our Congress people to support the DREAM Act in the House of Representatives. We're going to continue to do those things. A number of Asian American organizations in Chicago have come together to do a postcard campaign to our legislators asking them to respect immigrant and human rights for our communities. And we're going to continue to do that kind of outreach at churches, at markets, everywhere that we can to keep this issue prominent. And then we're also going to be doing mass voter registration, mass voter education, and getting out the vote this November, because as said at the march, today we march, tomorrow we vote. I mean, we're gonna stick to that. We are going to vote.
I think that's key. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just think that's key. Today we march, tomorrow we vote. It's all about educating, our community, and educating, the younger people that are born here, because there are a lot of mixed citizenship households where parents are undocumented, children are citizens. So I mean, it's about going to the churches, going everywhere, and saying, hey, if you are born here, if you are 18, get vote, and this is the importance, this is why we need you to vote. So I think it's all about education and definitely making sure that our community knows the strength of their vote.
What's the DREAM Act briefly?
Oh, I'm sorry. The DREAM Act is a piece of legislation that will allow undocumented students first to gain in-state tuition, access to in-state tuition, so school is more affordable, but then also there'll be a path to citizenship for them through that act.
So this is building off of stuff that's already happening here in Illinois?
Right, yes. They passed a piece of legislation in the state where students already have access to in-state tuition, which is great. There are 9 states in the country that have already done that. But the DREAM Act will be a piece of federal legislation that will allow this to happen nationwide.
So you both have addressed this question I put a little more gently. I'm going to ask it more directly now. How do you answer people who say, well, this is all fine and good, and I can see they're hardworking families and all that, but they broke the law. Why should they get more than I got when I came here legally 3 or 4 generations ago? I'm asking this question because we are an immigrant city, and I've always believed that one way to offset people who are anti-immigrant is to say, well, that's not going to happen here. We're too close to our immigrant roots. But obviously some folks forget that none of us were here 300 years ago, and some of us were not brought here on our own accord. And so there's this mishmash of feelings about, well, why should this be different today just because of sheer numbers? Is there a way to respond to those, that bring those kind of folks onto your side?
Well, I mean, I think it was being addressed in the McCain-Kennedy amendment, with just making, people that crossed illegally to pay fines. I don't know if I necessarily advocate for that position or not, but I mean, if there is a response, that would probably be it. That there are, and that would be one way to do it, is to issue fines. But again, it's a civil penalty right now, and Sensenbrenner wants to criminalize, which is an entirely different animal. It's a different thing altogether.
I think we're going to try to take a look at some of these pictures again from the May Day March. But I'm curious how, beyond getting people registered to vote and to continue to oppose legislation that is seen as anti-immigrant, what else do you see percolating within the Korean community that has gotten people excited or really ready to go on this kind of work?
Well, I think also May 1st was about moving beyond being opposed to a specific piece of legislation to, this is what we're for, this is what we want, this is what, we're going to let our legislators know, this is the kind of legislation that, will benefit our community, so that we will continue to to participate in activities and organize activities to try to push for something that's positive for our community, as opposed to just continuing to fight against something negative, to do both.
If people want to find out more about how to plug into your efforts or to get more information on the legislation you want to oppose or support, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, they can call me, 312-782-7500, and that's probably the best way to get a hold of me.
And they can call KRCC at 773-506-9158 and just ask to talk to any staff member. Everyone is aware and can answer questions.
Well, I want to thank you, Becky, for joining us today from the Korean American Resource and Cultural Center. And I wish you luck in your work at Latinos United, Julissa, because I really think it's one of the more important behind-the-scenes groups that are keeping the fight up and getting all those folks turned out for the march. You've been watching Community Media and You on CAN TV, Channel 21 Chicago. I'm Thom-Clark at the Community Media Workshop at Columbia College, where we train nonprofit groups to use media more effectively and help them get their stories on the air. We published the popular media guide, Getting on the Air and into Print, our 300-page phone book to virtually all Chicago area media. It's available online, or you can call us at Columbia College, where our office is located, at 312-344-6400. I especially want you to know about our annual Making Media Connections Conference, which takes place this June. Hear from over 4 dozen journalists on what they do to cover nonprofits, learn from national and local experts on nonprofit communications, and share your communication successes with your peers. It's a Midwest premier conference for bringing community media together to promote news that matters. Visit www.newstips.org for updates on panelists and presenters at Making Media Connections. You can also register online at newstips.org. Call the Community Media Shop 312-344-6400. Leave us your contact information and we'll send you out a conference brochure. I would especially like to hear from viewers with ideas of community leaders you would like to see in the show. Public affairs programming like this show requires public input, so we really do want to hear from you. You've been watching Community Media and You, produced in cooperation with CAN TV Community Forum. Community Forum is a service of CAN TV and can be seen every Saturday between 8 and 9 p.m. on Channel 21. I'm Thom-Clark. Thank you for joining us.